Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Last Wrestling Podcast, because if I have a wrestling podcast, everybody else in the world does too, and the concept is officially dead. Now, you will hopefully notice the short runtime of this video, and that's because this is not a full episode of the Last Wrestling Podcast. This is a news alert, a public address from me. As you can tell from the fact that I'm stammering, I'm not working off a script here. About 2 years ago, I made the promise that I would stop covering WWE programming on this channel because of their continued association with the Saudi royal family, the Saudi Arabian government, in the wake of the assassination of Jamal Khashoggi, the Saudi Arabian born American journalist who I believe there's sufficient evidence to say was assassinated by the Saudi royal family on orders of people who have been working with WWE. And even though my platform is so small that your average ant would require several years of gymnastics training to stand atop it, I wasn't going to give them any publicity whatsoever. And it would take something big for me to change that policy. Well, we've got something big! In the wake of the 2020 coronavirus epidemic, WWE has been forced to completely change their plans for Wrestlemania Cutlass, known to the more historically accurate amongst us as Wrestlemania 36. And this is so weird from a storytelling standpoint. That's what I like to focus on here on the Last Wrestling Podcast. I don't know a hammer from a hammerlock, but I do know how to tell stories. And the story of this WrestleMania is so weird and so fascinating and so unbelievably stupid that I think it deserves analysis. So, over the course of the weekend, I will be covering both nights of WrestleMania, and I will be doing my traditional live-ish review format. Now, because of the time difference between Japan and Florida, this is not gonna be live reactions. This is going to be when I can get to it, because this also happens to be the weekend I have to go back to work as the quarantine is lifted here in Japan. Should it be lifted? Almost certainly not. Is it going to be? Yes. And do I have the right to tell my employers, no, I do not wish to go to work today? Well, technically, yes, I do, but if I choose to do that, they have the right to say, okay, bye-bye, you're fired. And I don't want that. So, yeah, I'm going to be going to work while most of you are watching WrestleMania, but I will be covering it as soon as I get home on those days, especially Sunday your time, Monday mine. And I'm saying your time, assuming everyone who watches this is in the States. But yeah, I'm breaking a promise that I made 2 years ago. I didn't want to do that without explanation. I intend for this to be a one-off. I do not intend to continue covering WWE for the reasons I have already stated. This is just weird enough that I want to look at it and I want to give you my perspective on it as a storyteller. So, see you in a couple of days with WrestleMania Cutlass. And until then, catchphrase sign off.